the past month, most of the country has been locked down and most journalists have been filing stories from home, but not the India Today Special Investigation Team. The only investigation team that's been out and about bringing the truth to you despite all the lockdown conditions. Tonight I want to show you part 7 of a continuing series of India Today exposés done during this lockdown. This is about rapid testing, which now seems to be the key. What our investigative reporters found is that a lot of wealthy individuals, a lot of companies were procuring these testing kits when they had no business to, when they had no government approval to, just to see how their employees were doing. So before they let employees back to work, they started procuring these kits, using them on their employees in a completely unauthorized fashion, just so that they could be safe, completely distorting and subverting India's larger battle against the coronavirus. Part 7 of India Today's continuing series of exposés is our lead story tonight.
As the country battles the pandemic, an India Today investigation has found how rapid test kits, their supplies restricted to government facilities, have made their way to the open market. Health authorities have paused their use over complaints of faulty results from some Chinese-made kits.
तो कोई ड्रग लाइसेंस वगैरह कुछ बिल होगा तो नहीं हम तो कैश में लेंगे ड्रग लाइसेंस वगैरह कुछ नहीं है ना.
But suppliers of medical equipment are found to be capitalizing on demands to fast-track testing at home and abusing the gaps in diagnosis of COVID-19. Posing as brokers, our undercover reporters discovered dealers bulk selling rapid tests for COVID-19, leaving no trail of transactions, no footprints for the government to contact trace suspects. Remember, the government regulations stipulate that COVID testing has to be carried out in designated health facilities. Suppliers like Merlin's Medico in Delhi's Rajendra Nagar have procured carton loads of COVID rapid test kits through illegal channels. Ready to be shipped out among the communities. When probed, its chief Amit Bahuguna promised wholesale deliveries without any paperwork.
कोविड टेस्ट किट चाहिए था
रैपिड टेस्ट किट कितने पीस है सर?
5,000 10,000 जो भी देना देगा. आपको ड्रग लाइसेंस वगैरह तो नहीं चाहिए ना?
कैश का व्यापार तो कुछ नहीं चाहिए.
तो वही तो कुछ नहीं चाहिए ना आपको. हाँ बस वही.
कैश तो दब गया ना उसी समय. कैश तो दब गया उसी समय. मतलब अगर कैश की डील है तो एक बार डील होगी ट्रांसफर ना मैंने आपको कुछ दिया ना आपने मुझे.
बिल्कुल नहीं तो आगे भी अगर मुझे चाहिए होगा तो मिल जाएगा ना टेस्ट किट.
सर आपको ये आप सही शॉप पे बैठे हो, आपको यहाँ पे सब चीज़ मिल जाएगी.
मतलब कितना अभी 25 लाख रुपये भी चाहिए. 25 लाख माल आप कितने देर में दे देंगे? 2-2.5 घंटे.
Remember, per national and WHO guidelines, rapid testing were originally recommended only as random tools in research setting. But mounting complaints of false negatives from rapid testing seems to be putting people and their loved ones at a higher risk. Even before the health authorities banned their use at state-run facilities in India till further notice, home testing remained strictly prohibited. Medical authorities were advised to validate test results through a more reliable lab examination. But the community demand has created an illegal supply chain of rapid test kits. This despite the fact that they are unreliable.
रेट 900 रुपये कम नहीं होगा. तो 900 रुपये कितना हो गया? 4,500 रुपये कैश.
To our undercover team, Sumit Bharadwaj at Syntex Medicare in Delhi's Malviya Nagar offered 500 kits for immediate sale.
500 अभी मिलेगा, बाकी को कल
सैंपल दिखाएंगे।
कल मिल जाएगा, अभी 500 पीस में अभी रेडी है।
उसमें आपको कोई डॉक्यूमेंट्स वगैरह हमारा तो नहीं चाहिए ना?
नहीं चाहिए।
500 कितना होगा?
घंटा की 4-4.5।
आपके पास
At Ghaziabad in the National Capital Region, Anit Singh and Rajpal Singh of Shiv Enterprises confessed they sold Chinese-made rapid test kits to local factory owners in contact with large workforce. Yes, these dealers are supplying kits produced by Vonfo Biotech, which allegedly delivered faulty results and prompted the government to stop the use of rapid testing for now.
कौन सी कंपनी है? किस कंपनी की? Vonfo। अच्छा।
पर्सनल भी लोग लोन ले रहे हैं, मतलब जैसे किसी के 10-20 साल फैक्ट्री में काम कर रहे हैं और उसके लिए भी ले रहे हैं, कुछ अपने पर्सनल के लिए भी ले रहे हैं
लोग पर्सनल के लिए ले रहे हैं,
जैसे फैक्ट्री वाले।
हाँ,
उनके मतलब कि गारमेंट्स की फैक्ट्री चल रही है या कुछ भी और भी चल रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए ले रहे हैं। वो तो सभी ले रहे हैं, सभी चाह रहे हैं हम बचे रहें, फैक्ट्री वर्कर हैं, तो 100 वर्कर हैं, 100 वर्कर के लिए कुछ चाहिए ऐसे लगेगा।
अच्छा, तो ऐसे आप लोग दे देते हैं?
नहीं, उनके पास कोई ड्रग लाइसेंस नहीं है, बट वो क्या है ना, कैश में ले जाते हैं।
हाँ।
जैसे जो भी मांगता है, कोई 100-200 पीस तो देता नहीं है, कोई भी होता है 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000। अगर आपने 10 रुपए भी रखे हैं तो 5,000 रुपये 50,000 हो गए आपके। और ये तो डेली बिक रहा है।
डेली बिक रहा है।
हाँ।
The clandestine use of rapid testing could adversely affect the understanding about the extension of infection and aggravate the spread further. A report by Mohammad Hizbullah and Milan Sharma for India Today's Special Investigation Team.
You know, it's a shocking and eye-opening investigation our reporters have just put out. I have been toying with the idea whether I need to get tested because I'm coming to work every single day and I go back to my family, and I haven't because you need government permission, you need to get a prescription. And here are a whole bunch of people who think there's a new iPhone in town, just go buy it, it doesn't matter, you have to pay a little bit extra. And there are all these corona scamsters who are making a killing. Joining me on this broadcast is Dr. S.K. Sareen. You see him often in press conferences with Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. He is the chairperson of Delhi government's panel on COVID-19. Dr. Arvind Lal runs one of India's best-known pathological laboratories, Dr. Lal Path Lab. He's the chairperson and managing director there. Welcome to both our guests. Dr. Sareen, I want to come to you first. This investigation is very shocking because I was under the impression, even personally, that test kits can only be obtained after you've got somebody in one of the government hospitals prescribing that you need to do it. You need to explain why you need to get tested, and only then do you get the kit. And here we have, sitting in different parts of the National Capital Region, these shopkeepers, these small businessmen selling kits for much more than they're worth. What do you make of this India Today expose, Dr. Sareen?
Well, thank you. I was not aware of this till a moment ago, till you told me.
Yeah.
This is just not acceptable. You know, this is a virus. This is a virus for which the kits and the quality is totally monitored by Indian Council of Medical Research, and the people are working day and night, and every lab has to get an accreditation and approval, and a number is given to them, and there is a reporting format. I mean, I must say India and the people in the health have done so well, so that every person, when is he tested, how was the sample, what were the symptoms, and is it the first sample, second, is it the nasal swab or blood, all that has to be written. And I am actually surprised that if this is going on, I don't think it's acceptable. One has to find a way to stop it. There is a reporting system, there is an IDSP, the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program, and I don't think people should either take it or should go into, I mean, government could do only this much, but rest of the things people have to say. And there are people who can go to any lab, like if you are worried, then you can go and get tested on the prescription of a doctor. So everyone first Because when you are scared doesn't mean that you need to get tested. You may be afraid. You may be afraid that your family, your friend you were in contact, but that doesn't mean that everyone needs to get tested. So get that fear, apprehension out of your mind. That is what can drive people to do wrong things. Second, if you have a feeling, then you can go to a specialist, a nearby doctor or a flu clinic or to a hospital. Generally don't go to a hospital, go to a flu clinic. It's a small area. And if they have a suspicion that you have such an infection, or you say that you were exposed to, or you are a healthcare worker, then certainly you can go and get tested. But no question of getting tests done anywhere else. Secondly, the test, I guess, which would be sold by people, if at all it is, I hope it is correct as you are saying, then these are antibody tests. These are lateral flow antibody tests, which only can tell you that you were exposed or you are currently still having. Only test which confirms infection is not these blood drop tests or blood tests, it is the nasal swab. So confirmation of information is by nasal swab, which is an RT-PCR, which is a virus test. Confirmation of exposure can be done by these labs. So I totally disregard anybody doing or selling this.
Dr. Lal,
so
we've
this should
spoken
not be done and should be taken care of.
We've spoken in the past about who needs to get tested, who in our teams, those who are frontline workers, we should send to your lab and elsewhere for these tests, and everybody's been thinking very deeply about how to approach this issue. And here you've got a bunch of people doing jugaad, going to the black market as if this is some new Chinese mall in town, picking this up at substantially inflated rates and saying, "Aao test karke dekhte hain." What are the risks involved, and how does this jeopardize, in your view, India's larger battle against coronavirus? Because you've got a bunch of people who are administering these tests without doctor's prescription, and you have no idea what those results are. What complications can it create for us, sir?
So my take on this antibody test is that it has been sold in the market, or it has been pronounced in the market, and people think these are rapid tests, and in 1 second you will get to know whether you are having this infection or not. Pretty much like a new pregnancy test in which it comes out positive or negative very quickly. So it is for the people like us and people like you to make the people understand that these are not diagnostic tests. If you need a diagnostic test, whether you have a disease or you don't have a disease, you have got to go through what Dr. Sareed has just explained to you through the proper channel. And the gold standard in the world is an RT-PCR test. This, the people of India must understand that there is nothing rapid about the rapid antibody test. You're going to land up in a lot of trouble. That's point number one. Point number two is that the antibody test starts becoming positive. From my point of view, though it is not to be used as a diagnostic test, but it starts rising. There are two antibodies, the IgM and the IgG. One starts rising by the 7th day and one by the 14th day. The one which starts rising by the 14th day goes up to a high of about 28 days, and it should remain high. That is the IgG antibody which we are actually wanting to see as an epidemiological tool, or as a transmission tool, or as a sign of immunity in the people. So people who are using these, they have no idea what it is going to be, and though both the tests may come out negative, and that is what they are saying, ki mujhe bimari nahi hai. That's how people are reacting. If the test comes out negative, it is bound to be, you may not have been exposed to any virus, and then it just comes out negative, and you see your test kharab hai. So it is not to be used loosely. It has to be under a doctor's prescription. There are certain norms about it. And the government is actually, we have approached the government also, and the government is also working on something, where the workers going back to their factories, especially industrial workers, are tested that we don't want anybody to carry a live virus, pretty much like an open TB case, into a factory surrounding. So for that, we have recommended a few things, and I can share with you what we have recommended. It is a pooling of RT-PCR tests. So we take the nasal swabs and the throat swabs of people and put, say, 5 of them into one and test them. And these tests are so sensitive that even if one person in 5 is positive, the whole thing will show you positive. You can call those 5 people back, or we still have their material, and then we can go individually. So there are ways and means of finding out who is positive, but this antibody test is not a diagnostic test. And Rahul, that's what I would like to say right now.
Government in the meanwhile has banned the use of these Chinese rapid tests. Now remember, about 5.5 lakh came with much fanfare from China. They were distributed to different states. Rajasthan in particular complained that the tests weren't showing the right kind of results. I want to show you what the government did, and then I'll ask the doctors, because the company says that the tests aren't being administered right, which is why they're seeming to malfunction. But first, let's focus on what the government said. The tests which we just showed you in our report, people trying to buy in black at exorbitant rates, are actually now banned by the ICMR. So if you're spending money, please don't. You could be wasting a lot of money for no reason. Take a look at this report.
A day after the ICMR cancelled orders to procure rapid antibody test kits from 2 Chinese companies, India has decided to return the faulty kits to China. The centre is also ramping up production of COVID test kits within the country. Rapid antibody test kits are already being manufactured in Haryana's Manesar. These kits can give instant results.
सब चीज़ें एडवांस्ड स्टेज में है. बहुत जल्दी आईसीएमआर की क्लियरेंस होते ही विद इन ए वीक वो सब चीज़ें प्रोडक्शन स्टेज में चली जाएंगी. जैसा कि हमारा टारगेट है कि 31 मई तक हम 1 लाख टेस्ट देश में करना चाहते हैं हर रोज़. उस टारगेट को अचीव करने में भी ये डेवलपमेंट हमें बहुत मदद करेगी.
The deal with Chinese companies was cancelled after the Delhi High Court on Monday unearthed a profiteering scandal. A legal dispute revealed that ICMR was being sold the kits at double the price at 600 rupees per test.
टेंडर देने के बाद जब उन्होंने सप्लाई किया तो उसके बाद जब फील्ड पर उनके बारे में कंप्लेंट आई तो आईसीएमआर ने इमीडिएटली रिएक्ट किया. आप सबकी नॉलेज में है. उसके बेसिस पर रिएक्ट करके उन्होंने उनको कैंसिल भी किया और कोई भी पेमेंट उन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को नहीं दिया गया है.
The Chinese kits were also showing wide variation in test results. Beijing, however, is blaming Indian agencies for faulty tests.
India is not buying the Chinese argument. The ICMR has said due to wide range of sensitivity found in the Chinese rapid antibody test kits, they are faulty, and that the companies' Want-for and Live-Zone orders have been returned and have been cancelled, and that India will not be buying the rapid antibody test kit from these companies anymore.
At a time when testing has become ever so important, the accuracy rate of kits from China is abysmal globally. From Spain to Britain to Turkey to Italy, all have returned the testing kits and are demanding refunds from China. With Milan Sharma, Bureau Report, India Today.
First thing, the same rapid tests from China have run into problems in different countries that imported them in the hope of scaling up testing. Secondly, Want-for Biotech, the Chinese company, in its defense says that it's being administered wrong, that people are using it for the wrong purpose, they're using it wrong, which is why they're getting what they think are wrong results. Dr. Sareen, which one is it? Is the test genuinely faulty? It's one of those Chinese mal that doesn't work, which is why so many countries are returning it, or is it also being administered wrong? What's your view, sir?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer. Only the field trial and those who are involved, like quality control by ICMR and others, would say. But I can just add 2 or 3 things for you and for the nation to understand. We using the kits, these are lateral flow kits. These are like bullock carts. These are the first generation. What is an antibody? Need to understand. When a virus comes, the body makes a protein to fight that virus, and that's an antibody. So the antibody tests are of 3 types. One is the one we are having, lateral flow. Then the next level is chemiluminescence, and then you have something like an ELISA. So ELISA is a test which is standard for hepatitis B or for TB or for anything you use ELISA. So it will take some time before the chemiluminescence and ELISA, which are better tests. And now let's say for hepatitis B, we have 4th generation ELISA, hepatitis C 4th generation ELISA. So we are not there. So I'm not saying in defense or against, but the test itself has very limited, kind of reliability as of it is, and therefore to make it, and I think the media hype or people's desire to get tested made it just widespread. So I think we have to wait, and I'm so happy I heard the Honorable Health Minister said we will be ready, and this gives an opportunity for us, because the antibody may develop in the other population like Chinese in maybe 7 days, but maybe in Indians it develops earlier. What we need therefore is, whenever we are doing an RT-PCR or the nasal swab, we should collect the blood. Let's say there are 30,000 people. We will know about when the antibody develops in India, like Dr. Lal said, IgM. When does it develop? When the IgG develops. So if we know the trends
so can I
in
ban
India, how long it takes for the virus and the antibody.
Dr. Sareen, time out. Can I request you to leave medical jargon outside the Newstrack? Okay. This is now going straight over my head. Just speak plain English so people are watching can make sense. This of course makes sense for you and for Dr. Lal, and he's smiling, but I've lost you. So please do this again.
Well, I'm just saying that we should have the blood test as well as initially the nasal swab, both for us. If both these are available, the country would know when the antibodies develop in our population. Does it develop on 7 days or 15 days? And then the Indian test kits can be used at a very, very large level. So I think the antibody test is very useful for us to know whether the virus has cleared or whether the virus has given you immunity. It does not give you diagnosis.
Okay.
So today,
Dr. Lal?
antibody test should be developed for the country.
Dr. Lal, how do you respond to this defense that's come from this Chinese company, 14 Biotech? They're saying in different Indian states, it's been used for the wrong purposes, it's been used wrong, which is why the results appear wrong. They're saying, don't blame us. How do you respond, sir?
Rahul, I don't want to sound cynical, but personally speaking, and I'm only saying personally, I don't like any Chinese stuff for that matter. However, when we are talking about science, you have got to go through the proper rigmarole, proper studies, proper, quality control, the tests, etc. I think people have been very, very quick. The rapidity with which they have introduced the rapid test is mind-boggling. It is not done. Dr. Sareen has quite correctly said that the best tests in the world are the ones which you take from a vein, and you take that blood out, you separate the serum, and you carry out a beautiful ELISA or a chemiluminescence test, 3rd or 4th generation, and there is nothing rapid about it. You give us the blood in the morning, you take the blood in the report in the evening, and then there can be some correlation. This is part one. The part two is ultimately what you want to see in the Indian population is an IgG antibody period. So I wouldn't be averse to saying this, that just to bring down the cost, etc., that supposing if a person falls ill today, by next 21 days he is okay, you give another 5-6 days or another 1 week or another 15 days, take only one test, and there are tests like this which are available in the market. It is known as an IgG test. It's being marketed by some company in America, and if that titer is or that level is found to be high, you have got it. That is what you would love to see, that this person has got immunity, he's been cleared of the virus, and he is also a good candidate to give his plasma or blood for plasma therapy. So that is what ultimately we would like to see.
Now, so from what I've understood from these two wise doctors is, don't waste your money buying in black these rapid Chinese tests, because A, there's no guarantee they work. B, if you're not being monitored and it's not known that you've been tested, then it defeats the battle, because every test counts. We're supposed to know how many are positive. A lot of our analysis and policy is actually based on testing and responses to those testing. And I'm glad that we had both Dr. Sareen and Dr. Arvind Lal on this show to try and put in context this eye-opening investigation. Just imagine, it's almost like there's a new iPhone in town and everybody wants to get their hands on it. So what if this is a test and you have no idea, no business being tested just because you want to get tested? We'll see how the government responds. The government's been very proactive. They've been looking very carefully at each of our investigations, ordering very quick action. I'll see how the government at the centre and at the state respond to part 7 of this expose to our reporters. And so many of you have sent messages thanking them for the effort they're making. This is just fantastic stuff. 7th investigation in a matter of a month during this lockdown. Dr. Sareen, Dr. Arvind Lal, for enlightening us with your wisdom and for joining us in the Newstrack. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.